Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Kurt Watinsky, and this is one of a series of interviews I've been conducting as part of the More Housing Wisconsin project, which is co-sponsored by the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, the Wisconsin Realtors Association, and the Wisconsin Builders Association. The focus of this series of interviews is on housing, and more particularly, what can local governments do to generate more housing for their communities? We have been talking with and learning from local leaders representing both private sector and the public sector, and as well as the nonprofit sector, and learning from them about um, their experiences in implementing some of the zoning reforms and other strategies that local governments can implement to generate more housing. Joining me today is Kahya Fox, Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of the Greater La Crosse region. And Kaya's been in her position for 8 years, I think. Is that right, Kaya? And
Correct.
prior to that, Kaya worked for a nonprofit agency on housing issues as well. Kaya, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kurt.
So, Kaya, I think I imagine most of the public is familiar with Habitat for Humanity, but maybe they don't know exactly, your mission. So maybe you could describe. We'll just start with a little description of what your mission is as an agency.
Absolutely. So, Habitat for Humanity of the Greater La Crosse region, we've actually been an affiliate of Habitat International for over 30 years now. We actually serve 4 counties in the state of Wisconsin, so La Crosse, Vernon, Monroe, and Trempealeau counties, and then also Houston County in Minnesota. And I think most people, when they think of Habitat, they're fairly aware of what we do. Our
Yeah.
brand is very strong and people understand kind of the basics of what Habitat does. But each affiliate kind of has its own niche that really truly just addresses the needs in each individual habitat's community. And so the beauty of Habitat is it's an international organization, but a lot of the work that's being done is truly grassroots level, coming to the needs of the community in which the Habitat affiliates are a part of. And so what we do at Habitat for Humanity is we want to bring people together to provide and preserve affordable housing opportunities, but also create communities where people feel they belong. So we run a variety of programs in addition to what most people recognize Habitat for, which is, building and providing homes to low income first time homeowners.
Great. That's an excellent summary. So I want to focus in on one of the projects that really caught my eye that your organization is involved in is you teamed up with the city of Hillsborough on a housing project, a workforce housing project, to build ten homes over the course of the next couple of years. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how did this come to be? How'd you end up teaming up with Hillsborough?
I mean, just like any partnership that starts, it's almost a lot of times more of a kismet situation. So, we actually responded to a request for proposal that was published in the newspaper from the city of Hillsborough, asking for a proposal specifically to develop 10 units of affordable housing in that community. We actually got shared that newspaper article by one of our contractors that we work with that said, I think this would be a great opportunity for Habitat. Um, And so we responded to the RFP. We put in a proposal just like any other developer would have done. But I think our unique approach to the project was really what caught the attention of Hillsborough and
Mhm.
helped them move the project forward into an approval stage early this spring.
And one kind of interesting or unique aspect of this from local government perspective is that the city actually initiated this. This is a city subdivision, I believe.
Mhm.
They're kind of acting as the developer of the real estate, so to speak, reached out and requested a proposal from someone like your organization to actually work through the building, the constructing of
Mhm.
these homes. Um, I saw from reading a description of the project a little bit that your Habitat plans to build cross mod homes. I'm not familiar with those. It's a new kind of manufactured home. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Habitat for Humanity and La Crosse here, we are actually a licensed factory built housing dealer in the state of Wisconsin. What this means is that we can purchase factory built homes. So whether it's a modular home or a manufactured home, direct from the factory that builds them. That eliminates kind of the typical situation in which, a developer would purchase a home through a dealer. There'd be a markup from the factory to the dealer, and then to the end recipient. And so we kind of eliminate the dealer as the middleman and buy directly from the factory. This saves significantly on, our purchase costs for these homes. Manufactured and modular homes are built in factories,
Yes.
and they come completely ready to be set on a foundation, and it just takes a short amount of time to make them truly into final homes. And so right now we're in the middle of affordable housing crisis.
Right.
Housing, whether it's rental, home ownership, is astronomically out of the reach for low income families, workforce individuals. Our employees and our communities are finding it harder and harder to invest in housing. And specifically, the idea of building wealth and having long-term home ownership opportunities is starting to be something that's just out of reach for a large, large number of Americans. And this problem isn't unique, to Wisconsin. It's all across the United States. And so factory built housing, because it's built in a factory, because it has very minimal waste, because of the purchasing power, so instead of buying enough wood for one house, you're buying enough wood for 50 houses. The cost of construction from the factory is greatly reduced. And then those savings then get passed on to us and allow us one of the only opportunities to build affordable housing in which the cost of the housing itself does not exceed the value of the home. So material costs are
Mhm.
so out of whack in construction that there is this giant gap
Yes.
in what it takes developers, specifically at the affordable level, where it's a lower priced product, to develop houses that we have the potential to either make money or at least, at the very least, not lose money. And so you're finding your market rate developers not developing affordable housing. That burden has been placed on us as affordable housing developers, but we aren't immune to the costs of housing. And so this factory built option allows us to purchase from the factory directly, receive all of those savings that come with that type of housing development, and provide that to the city of Hillsborough. So we are purchasing 10 cross mod units. Cross mod is actually a brand new type of housing that has been released nationally and accepted by Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. So it is a type of manufactured housing, which is, what we would typically see. It has a chassis underneath. It can either be put on a permanent foundation or put in like a park, on tie downs. But these homes are unique. They're called a cross mod because they're kind of a cross between a manufactured and a modular home.
Okay.
Modular homes are built to local code. They are meant to be on permanent foundations. So this cross mod is meant to be put on a permanent foundation. It has been designed to fit better in communities. So most of the time when we think of, manufactured modular homes, we're thinking of the rectangle. You know,
Yes.
these are offset. They are given a lot more exterior additions that make them look more like your average home. They have to include an attached garage. They have to include a porch. And then they are also called e-built homes, meaning that they are built to a higher energy efficiency standard than most modular and manufactured homes. So they perform better, anywhere from 40 to 60% better than the average stick-built home as far as energy efficiency. These homes actually come uh, energy ready, so electrical ready, so they're 100% electrified. And so it is a price point that allows affordability while also providing a product that blends into our neighborhoods and provides, valued homes that appreciate over time, and you know allow opportunities for families to be into safe, affordable housing while also building wealth and, access and stability within a community.
What square footage would these homes be? Can you give a sense of that?
Yep. So
Yeah.
they're anywhere from 1,700 to 2,400 square feet.
Oh, okay.
So they are definitely, very nice starter homes.
Hmm.
They have a lot of interior amenities that you typically wouldn't see on a first time purchase for a
Hmm.
family. So
Hmm.
they really are elevated, beautiful homes. And data over the last few years has shown that manufactured and modular homes, especially on permanent foundations, appreciate at basically the same rate as stick-built housing. And so there's a lot of like old thoughts about factory built
Right.
homes that are just not represented in the data today.
Hmm.
So, the factories have elevated their construction. They've elevated the types of homes that they're putting out. They're putting out products that are much more amenable to our communities. And so you're going to start seeing this as a solution. And so we're excited to be kind of one of the first in the state of Wisconsin to be bringing this into a community as an affordable housing solution.
Do the 10 homes that you're building, are they kind of in an isolated area, like a community, or are they blended in with other existing homes?
That's an excellent question. So the development that we're doing in Hillsborough is actually part of a tax increment district that
Hmm.
was identified by the city of Hillsborough. So it actually is in a specific development. So the first 8 units are actually within one block. So it is truly a development, a
Like,
development product
yeah.
that we're doing. So you're going to see because of the variety of options for the homes that it's going to be a just a beautiful community of unique and interesting homes. And then we also have some land that we purchased from the city of Hillsborough in another development that's also part of their tax increment district.
Okay, great. Did you get a sense of how the rest of the community reacted to this? And was there resistance? Was there welcoming, or what's your sense of that?
So there was resistance,
Yeah.
and this is something that Habitat for Humanity as a nonprofit low-income housing developer faces often.
Yes.
There's a lot of misconception about what is affordable housing. It's started to almost become a bad word.
Yeah.
So
Right.
affordable housing is thought of something that is other, that it attracts people that are less than desirable, when, in all honesty, that is the farthest thing from the truth. If you're taking a look at the families that Habitat for Humanity helps, it's truly, those needed people in your community. It's your teachers, it's your doctors, it's your nurses, it's your firefighters, it's your police officers, it's your city employees. It is all of the people that make your community go, that are at the point that they are absolutely prepared. They're absolutely ready to be homeowners. They just, with the gap in affordability, they just can't find themselves an opportunity. And so Habitat and other affordable housing developers are there to bridge the gap. The problem is that, people in the community hear affordable housing and they think, there goes the neighborhood, here
Right.
come the trashy people. The beautiful thing is that this NIMBYism, not in my backyard, is prevalent in every community,
Yes.
but they are the minority. The vast majority of people in every community that Habitat for Humanity has built in understands, what affordable housing is, why it's needed. They usually know somebody who can qualify for the program. So it's their children, it's their grandchildren, it's their neighbors, it's their friends, it's their hairstylist, it's the people
Yeah.
they interact with. And so, in Hillsborough, even though we had some initial pushback, it was from a minority of people in the community. And the overwhelming support that we've gotten from the city of Hillsborough has been just heartening. They are on board, they are supportive and helpful and ready to help Habitat and ready to help the city of Hillsborough make this project happen.
Good to hear. And not, like you said, it's not a unique situation across the state and or across the nation. Every city faces the same questions.
Mhm,
Um, so some of these, in reading about the program or the project, there's different tiers of income
mhm.
restrictions that apply to the housing. And can you explain that a little bit? How does that break down?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Habitat for Humanity is an affordable housing developer. We are constantly having conversations in our communities, when any type of housing development or type of advocacy work is coming up, where we talk repeatedly about the value of mixed income housing. So when a development goes in and it's all market rate, potentially a community is doing a disservice to their community by not, understanding that a thriving, beautiful community has people of all income levels in there. So this idea of mixed income, people from all backgrounds coming together in one community is what makes our communities best. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of times when you're doing affordable housing development, we tend to only develop low income, kind of at the bottom tier
Yeah.
type housing. And so we don't necessarily practice what we preach when we're doing our own developments by creating these mixed income communities. So Habitat for Humanity was actually able to get, our affiliate was able to get an exemption from Habitat International to offer a wide variety of income levels for this development.
Okay.
And so four of the units are actually going to be at 120% of the county median income and below. Three of the units are going to be at 80% of the county median income and below, which is the definition of low income through HUD. And then the three final units will be under 60% of the county median income, and they will be true Habitat homeowners where Habitat will underwrite the mortgage on those properties.
Fascinating. So it truly is a mixed income development. Great to
Mhm.
see. Um, have you worked with other communities on similar projects? Is this kind of the first of what you hope to be maybe some other opportunities, or are you modeling this after something you've seen other places? How unique is this, I guess?
So, obviously there's a lot of low income housing developers that have done larger scale developments. 10 units honestly is not large in the grand scheme of things. 10 units in the city of Hillsborough is huge and is a needle mover. But this is our first as an affiliate larger scale development. What's unique about this is the use of the factory built housing and the cross mods specifically. This is something that's only happened a handful of times across the United
Okay.
States as a type of development. It is going to be the first in the state of Wisconsin. And so we're excited about that. So what we have done in the past is we work very closely with our municipalities, and a lot of what the niche that Habitat fills is more of the infill housing, so smaller,
Yes.
weird lots. We are the ones that are developing housing in those areas. And that's true across all of the municipalities. It's hard sometimes to be, especially as an affordable housing developer, to get in on some of these larger scale developments. But this project that we have had has garnered a lot of interest across the state of Wisconsin. So both the city of Hillsborough and our affiliate has been receiving phone calls from municipalities asking, about this project and how can they find or do something similar in their communities.
Yeah, very interesting. I just ran across, and I'm sure you're familiar with this. Cooley Cap is doing I think maybe has completed a project in Prairie du Chien, a four workforce type housing. I thought that was kind of interesting too.
Yes, absolutely. And we work hand in hand with Cooley Cap. So Cooley Cap is actually going to be a partner of ours in the city of Hillsborough. So they're, offering down payment assistance. They're
Okay.
also a licensed real estate agent. So they're going to be our real estate agent of record
Ah,
for the sales on these houses. So, honestly, these types of programs, these types of developments, you bring in the people that are also doing the work that you're doing and you work with them. And so I'm very excited to be working with Cooley Cap. I actually worked there for 13 years before I came to Habitat for Humanity. So I really love the partnerships that we have with other nonprofits.
terrific, fascinating. So I, so this is I'm impressed by everything you've had to say, and I think other communities will learn from this. Just as we're kind of winding up here, are there any best practices or advice you would pass on to, say, municipal leaders interested in maybe entering into some kind of arrangement like this or other ways of accomplishing affordable housing growth or creating more affordable housing options in their communities?
I think there's two things. I think the first one is it has to be part of your conversation. I think, in talking to some municipalities, not having a conversation within your community and not understanding what the actual specific housing needs of your community can be a detriment. I see a lot of smaller municipalities that utilize the market rate developer as kind of their litmus test for what the housing needs in the community are. So what are the developers that want to make money willing to build in our community? Well, that's what our community needs. And
Mhm.
that's a disconnect. And so, really, encouraging municipalities to have those conversations, to have, listening sessions and find out what truly the housing needs of all of the people in your community are. What are the gaps? What are the problems? What are the issues? What's the hardships that you're facing? Talk to your employers. What is the
Mhm.
issues that they're having with keeping, these quality employees that keep their companies operating. So really getting to that need. And the second one is there has to be some type of partnership if you want to develop affordable housing. We are just as dictated by the cost of housing as any other developer, but we're doing it at the very lowest end. And to think that nonprofit developers have to lose money in a development deals, so find ways to not make the final cut at the end is unfair and unrealistic of nonprofit organizations. We are nonprofits by definition, but to think that we are in the game to keep losing money means we can't help people moving forward. So working with nonprofits to find, funding and layering and opportunities to bridge that gap in affordable development is very important. So a lot of times municipalities will say, well, we're offering the lots at a discounted rate. That's not bridging the gap. So if
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
buy a piece of land for $5,000, $10,000, I still have to buy a house that's not going to pencil out. So how are we having these conversations and also making it a priority, whether it's, the development of a TID, whether it's some set aside funds, in order to kind of bridge those gaps, whether it's helping nonprofit organizations apply for funding, just finding those ways to help make those deals with housing developers work out in the end. And so, what are your needs and how are you going to make it happen through a commitment from your municipality?
Kaya, those are good lessons and good best practices for municipal leaders to hear, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And I encourage anyone who watches this to, if you want more information, your website I think has good information on the Hillsborough project, and of course you can call the city of Hillsborough and talk to the city administrator as well. But Kaya, appreciate it. This is very interesting, and I wish you lots of luck on the project going forward.
Oh, no, thank you, Kurt, so much. This was a pleasure speaking with you.